What's going on? And welcome back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. Jay, what a healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. What an awesome and incredible day. Saturday, August the 3rd. And I'm just super excited to be here. Welcome to another episode. Look, if this is your first time catching the podcast on whatever platform, subscribe, like this post, and come back and see us again. But we're here just about every day of the year, and we're looking forward to sharing with you how to account for your business finances today. We're on the final step of fixing my business finances. And before I get into the final step, I just want to say something. Most of these episodes are inspired by me needing to do something in my own life. And so unlike maybe a lot of podcasts, or a lot of different channels, people are doing things for the sake of, maybe they're doing it for a different reason. I'm going to say what I'm doing, but I do it because I may be dealing with something in my life. And so I come and I share. And so in this final step, what we're sharing is really how we wrap up getting my finances fixed. Right, getting my business finances fixed. And so I've gone through the steps. If you haven't caught all the steps, make sure you go back and listen or watch those episodes and start to put yourself in a position to fix your business finances. So as we jump into this today, it starts with a question like, why is this important? That's the question. Why is this important? Why are finances, or why having more money is more, or why is that important to you? A lot of times they say you should discover your why, and your why, if your why doesn't make you cry, then you probably need to keep digging. And I would agree with all of that. Today, we want to say, why is it important? Because when it gets hard, what are you going to do? When the bank account is low, what are you going to do? When all hell is breaking loose in like in your marriage or in your home, what are you going to do? When your kids are acting up, what are you going to do? When everyone's saying no, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I remember a personal story. Back in 2016, I'd hired my first coach. Maybe not my first, actually. That might have been my second, third. But this one was the biggest investment that I'd made. It was a $6,000 or $7,000 investment that I upgraded to the mastermind, which was, another $24,000. And I remember being coached by my coach, and he's teaching me and he's showing me and giving me all the tools. And I remember going call after call. I would get on the calls and no one would buy. I must have had good 28 or 30 calls but no one bought. And he said something to me that was a little interesting. He says, Jay, after I listened, because he made us tape the calls, he says, after I listened to your last call, he says, you have no energy. And then when I gave him a new call, I gave him another call. He says, there it is. Like you came across with more energy. And what I've discovered in the process of, going through all these things, years, guys, I've been doing something in business for the past 22 years, And you get to the point where you're like, okay, well, what does all this mean? What does all this mean? And why am I here? Like, why is this so important? Why, you ask yourself, well, when is it going to happen for me? But here's the thing, just about every successful person went through a period of a breakdown. They went through a period of things weren't working. They went through a period of really having to work on what they had to work on. So at this final step, what we're putting ourselves into, and this isn't even going to be as long as the other ones, we're putting ourselves in a situation where we just keep asking ourselves, why is this important? Why now in 2024? Why now is this service or product needed? Why now should I do it? Why? Like asking yourself so many why questions that you inevitably realize that if it's going to get done, you have to do it. I went into the Bible today. And because this is number 7, went and read Genesis chapter 2, verse 1 through 3. And I'm not going to read it, but I'm just going to kind of like give the synopsis of this. God got to a point where he realized he was finished. He says, oh, wow, it's the seventh day. We've completed all 6 steps and it looks like everything is done. And God said, I'll rest now. God blessed the day. God blessed the day that he got to it. He blessed the 7th day because he says, I finished what I said I would do. I finished it. See, when we get to the finish line, we are blessed. You can bless your hands for doing it. You can say at that point, wow, I'm done. But here's the thing, even though God was done, he wasn't done. He just created what needed to be created based on what he said. So at the very beginning of our journey together in fixing my business finances, what did we really have to discover in that first step? What do we have to discover? And here's how I would sum that up. Your attitude will determine your altitude. Step number 1, your attitude will determine your altitude. I didn't actually say that in step 1, but this is the synopsis. So when you get started fixing your finances, how you look at it, your perception, your attitude will determine how far you will go. That's the synopsis, right? Then from there, see, I just mentioned how I didn't get any sales. Because in step 2, we talked about selling is a way of life. Selling, like you don't have a business if nothing gets sold. And the thing that I realized is that when it's time to sell, I just got to figure out what's the best way for me. What is the best way, now that I've got my attitude in check, now that I know that I feel good about where I'm going, what's the best way to get that out? I struggled with this one. Anybody here struggled making sales, getting your thing? I struggle with it because it's like I have so many thoughts. I'm like, oh, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do that? I don't know. But you have to determine what is the best way for me. Does it have to be a webinar? Does it have to be a challenge? Does it have to be, an evergreen masterclass? Does it have to be cold call? Whatever it is, like you gotta figure that out. Because without figuring it out, then we're not going to be able to grow. But determining that early keeps things moving. Step number 3 was all about conviction. What are we willing to die for? I didn't actually mention that, but I wrote that down in my notes. What are you willing to die for? See, in step number 7, what we have to do is re-engage ourselves with the whole process. What am I willing to die? Am I willing to die for this? That means if I'm willing to die, my conviction, the conviction I have for it is everything. 3. Then in step number 4, the summary of that says, no one can be you. No one can be you. Therefore, there's no need to compete. No one can be you. Therefore, there's no need to compete. And it's all about being creative. Be creative. Create something that is all you. It's what you bring to the marketplace. What I've personally done is I've taken a combination of a lot of things to bring together this idea of fixing my business finances. I created that. And then in step number 5, it's really about the plan to grow. What is your plan to grow? You gotta be able to picture. We're gonna go from, we're gonna go from a Facebook ad, a podcast, And we're going to go from content, whatever that is, to some form of training. We're going to go to this training. Maybe it's a free Facebook group. Maybe it's a free community on school. Maybe it's a webinar. Maybe it's a challenge. So you go, and then it's, well, where are they going to go next? And where are they going to go next? Where are they going to go next? And you're going to chart out. We're going to actually do a workshop on that. We're going to chart out how to create this plan for growth. I was on the phone with some friends, and what I saw is that even though they wanted to grow, they didn't have a plan. They didn't really have a plan. It was just like, hey, it's kind of like, thinking about it, but didn't really put anything down. Not really looking at what the numbers could be and how am I really going to get there. See, we got to know how we're going to get there. We got to plan that out. So you got to have a plan for growth. Step number 6, we talked about that yesterday. How do you deliver? How do you deliver transformation? This is like, man, I'm getting super excited because I'm getting super excited about people transforming. So how do you deliver that, right? And there has to be a beginning point where they start, and then the ending point, which is the transformation. So then it's everything in between. What am I going to do in order to make sure that the results I said they will get, they will get? Now, here's the thing. If someone doesn't get the results, it's because maybe something in the plan didn't get done. And even when it gets, sometimes it's going to get done and they still may not get the result. Maybe because their attitude was off. Because that happens. I've seen that. So it's how to deliver that transformation, how to deliver your product or service. You got to map that out from where they start to where they actually end, which is the full fulfillment of what it is that you're going to deliver. And then lastly, we're just realizing that we put together, in step number 7, what we did is we put together our plan. We've put together a strategy that will take us from broken up business finances to finances now in a place where you can grow. Now, here's the thing. Someone may be asking, but Jay, well, you're saying fix your business finances, but really, how do I do that? Now, here's the thing. What I'm teaching on this podcast is more the principles behind it all. This is the principles. What I'm teaching here is the principles behind what needs to get done. See, the tactical, the implementation, all of those things will be determined specifically by you, and they will be determined by some of the decisions you have to make, especially in like step number 1, like your attitude, your altitude. Like, so if your attitude is off, then all the other steps won't work. Nothing will work. Seen that. All the other steps won't work when your attitude is off. So preparing for what we have to do, knowing that this is super important. This is the most important thing that I'll do in my lifetime. This is one of the most important things I'll do in my lifetime is fix my business finances. And because I will fix my business finances, it will give other people an opportunity to fix theirs. Lastly, have you ever wanted to do something? It's the last thing. Have you ever wanted to do something, but you didn't feel equipped to do it? Yeah, that's happened to me. Like just from thinking about what I always wanted to do. Oh man, I just want to help people to make more money. I always wanted to do that. And what I discovered is that to help people do anything is to become that person to do it. It's not just to do it, but it's to become the person to do it. So by becoming the person to do it, you, me, whoever, whatever it is, by becoming that person, by being that person, like I'm the healthy accountant. I can give you some tips on how I became the healthy accountant. I can give you some tips on where I started. I can give you some tips on what I do every single day. I can give you some tips on kind of like how I worked on, when things were hard and money was hard or money was short, and how I was able to stay focused on the creation process. That was different because a lot of times when you have problems in your life, it's really hard to focus on the solutions. It's really hard to get going and do things because you're being bogged down by the problem. So if you don't want to be bogged down by the problem, look, the problem's not going to go away without some work. So that means that I got to become someone different. Who do I want to become? Oh, I want to become I want to become a philanthropist, and I want to become a multimillionaire. I want to become, a person that, that helps people, really get to where they want to go. And I want to become an awesome and incredible husband, awesome and incredible wife, awesome and incredible father, mother. And I want to become, that person that my family can depend on. Like I want to become, the kind of person that literally can hear someone tell me a problem and then be able to help them navigate out of that problem. I want to be that kind of person. Like I want to be able to person that can take ideas and bring them to life. I want to be that kind of person that, that has a big vision and knows how to get there. Like I want to be that kind of person. And by discovering and realizing that I am this kind of person and this is the person that I will be, then ultimately you get to the point where any problem that you have, you fix it. See, when I started this training, I started it because I said, man, my finances when I say my business finances, like my processes was all off. Yeah, we're making money, but here's the thing. That's not everything. You need it. But without having a through line, one of my coaches always talks about a through line, because a through line takes you all the way there. Without having a through line, a literal line where you can see exactly where you're going and how you're going to get there, then you won't get there. I mean, I know too many people, well and good faith-based entrepreneurs who are stuck at the beginning. They've had the training, they've seen all the strategies, they've seen the tactics, and yet they're still not moving because they haven't designed their own through line to get to where they said they want to go. Everything that we think of is real. So let's get focused on fixing the real problem. That's why I'm here. Fixing the real problem. Here's the real problem. And I'm going to let you go right after this. The real problem is most people won't say this one phrase. I will be rich. I desire to be rich. I am rich. Most people, especially faith-driven entrepreneurs, will not say that. They will say, it's not about the money. Well, if you lie about that, then you will lie about a lot of things. So let's get it straight. Fixing my business finances is about getting rich, period. Is that the only thing? Nope. But that's the thing, that if you solve that, and when you solve it, watch what happens around you. Watch what happens to your family. Watch what happens in your business. Watch what happens to your friend. Like everything is going to change when that happens. Fixing your business finances ultimately says, I am rich. Now let's go. Make this one thing so important that you won't stop until you get right there. Until you get there. Now here's the thing. When you get there, what you'll realize is that by having a purpose, by being driven for something much higher, it'll make all of that even seem, oh wow, that's great, but there's more. There is more than you bargained for. So let's go. Fix your business finances. Take these simple steps where I've laid them out in a simple framework so that you can, one, go from step 1 to step 7. And here's the thing. When you get to 7, your job is to go back to step 1 and continue to go through the process until. All right. So guys, my name is Jay, a healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. And I look forward to seeing you soon on the next episode. God bless, and I'll see you later. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.